Alright, so welcome back once again to another tutorial, and it's been a while since I did the last one, so I just figured to go ahead and make this other one. Now this one's going to be much shorter than the previous two. In this one I'm just basically gonna go very quickly over basic unit modifications, where the actual unit files are located, and how to change basic things like the armor speed, gun placements and stuff like that. So anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. As always, I will also have a section at the end for modding the vanilla game and where all of that stuff is located, and this should all be a much simpler and much shorter tutorial than the previous two. If you didn't like mission modding, then you may find unit modding a lot more interesting, and then later on I'm even gonna have a few videos dedicated just to the actual importation process of new units. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so as always, you are gonna need a Notepad++ to get this to work, and I'm just gonna show you right away where all of the actual unit files are. So the main file that I'm going to show you right here, I'm going to show you two main files, one a little bit later on and one right now. It's located in scripts, data tables, autoload, and then it's right down here, vehicleclasses.lua. You're going to go ahead and open this in Notepad++. Right off the bat, you will notice if you scroll down right now, as it's unfolded, it is a very large file. In fact, the complete campaign pack one is I think 160,000 lines, and I'm gonna go into more of the specifications exactly of what that file is. So when you open it, you're definitely gonna want to go to view fold all, and now it's gonna actually take a while to fold. That's normal. Even my computer struggles with that. So once you open up this little plus at the start right here, it just say vehicle classes equals and then a bracket. You just open that up and you'll see a bunch of entry numbers right here. So what is this that we are looking at right now? This is in fact a file containing all of the classes in the game, whether they are ships, aircraft, vehicle classes, any type of land vehicles, soldiers, island, well, not islands, they're in a different file, but this is for anything that is vehicle related. So you'll see there's a bunch of entries, with the first one being the lexington class. You can see I'll go over what exactly all of these mean. So you can open each one of them, as you can see, and they have a bunch of different sections inside of them. You can quickly identify what each one of the entries specifically is. If you open them real quick, you'll see this line comment equals, and then it'll usually say its name up here. So those are the vanilla ones all the way down, and then like if you scroll down right here, you will see maybe these are buildings. You will see a lot of buildings for Pearl Harbor, for Sydney, for a variety of islands. And then at the bottom, if you scroll down, these all of these large number ones, they are the 4.0 and complete campaign pack units. So the 1300s are the Bismarck. You can see Bismarck class down here, and then if you open 1605, that is the Scharnhorst right here, and all of the other complete campaign pack ships. And the 2000s are the rest of the 4.0 ships. So like the North Carolina is right here, 2007 is the Nagato, and so on and so on. Anyways, so that is basically what deviceclasses.lua is, and there's sorry, vehicle classes, not device classes. I'm going to show you device classes right now. Anyways, we're also going to go ahead and open device classes. I'm basically really quickly going to show you what that is. I'm not sure if I remember. I don't think I'm going to go much into this file at all, but just like vehicles, devices or weapons of the actual ships or any weapon in the game also has their own classes. So if you hit Control F on your keyboard, it'll bring this find window. So here you can, for example, search for any turret you want. I usually just search up the name of the ship. So the Renown, you can see the plane catapult of the Renown has an entry, and yeah, looks, that's it. So if you maybe look up the King George, yeah, you can see the 14-inch guns of the King George. The entry for that is right here. So anyways, that is basically what the vehicle classes and device classes are. They also use Lua, in case you were wondering. That's why you don't need to go to language.lua over here, because they're all Lua files. Anyways, without further ado, let's actually show you guys what each of these specifications are. Okay, so without further ado, let's get straight into showing you what the actual entries look like. So let's start off with vehicle classes. So we're gonna go ahead and straight up and open up entry number 1, which is the Lexington class aircraft carrier for the US. So we're gonna start off right at the top and go right to the bottom, and I will also show you some other ships because there are some things that some ships don't have. Like for example, on aircraft carrier we have some things that other ships don't have. Anyways, let's get straight into it. So armor indexes. These are the armor values for different parts of the ship. Now a ship is subdivided into many parts. You can see the Lexington, for example, right here has indexes 1 through 9. Now I will go more into armor indexes and the armor locations later on when I do my second modding tutorial. However, all you need to know is that a ship is basically subdivided into parts, and these parts have different armor values. We can't really see these armor indexes, so the only real way of actually modding these is to change them and then try to damage the ship in the game. Anyways, moving on, armor is the general armor value for the entire ship. Basically how this works is these values are added on top of this for each one of the sections, and then that gives you the final armor value for the ship in general. So if you want to have the ship generally more well armored, you would just add to this value right here. Bow particle and bow wave are the so bow particle is the splashes of water that you see at the front when the ship is sailing forwards. They're not really different types of them, they're just different intensities of them. So for like a big ship you would have a bigger one, and for a smaller ship you would have a smaller one. I've never really messed with these personally, so I don't really know exactly how that works. That may be something that you guys can experiment on your own. But these effect numbers, these numbers entries right here, they go into a different file, which I will show you later on. Yeah, so they're basically just numbers for the different effects. In fact, you know what, I'm gonna show you the effects folder right now. So if you go up to the same folder right here, script data tables auto load, you will open this effects folder. It's also a very large folder, and it'll probably take you a long time to fold. You can see I just clicked folder, it's taking me ages. There we go, it finally folded, and you can see that all of the effects are listed just like the class entries previously. So if you for example want to reference that and see how that effect is, you can just go see what entry this is. This is 71, and then you'll go into effects.lua and you'll go wherever 371 is, 371. There we go, and you can see bow particle medium for our ship. So this one, the Lexington, is using the bow particle medium, so you can change this to small, large, whatever you want. The bow wave is the foam that creates alongside the ship when it's sailing forwards. Again, you can change that. It's all referenced in effects.lua. So all of these camera distances, camera distance, front, side, vertical, and height, these are values that set how far the camera is when you're panning around the ship. So if you're importing a new ship and you copied over an entry from a different ship and that ship is too small, the camera facing values are too small, you can just change this, increase it, mess with this all you want. Camos, this doesn't work in Battlestation Pacific. I'm not sure why the devs included it. Camos, it's supposed, I think this is supposed to change the color of the different turrets, but all I do when I was making a new ship, I just delete this entry right here and just leave it like that, blank. I'm not gonna do it for Lexington because it's a vanilla ship, but generally you would leave that blank. Capture power is how much power the ship has to capture bases in island capture, and you can change this. The higher it is, of course, the faster the ship will capture a supply base or a headquarters when it's closer to it, so you can change this to your liking. Collision max speed damage, it has no effect in the game whatsoever because the game for some reason does not have collision damage active when two ships collide in Battlestation Pacific. Neither of them receives damage. I'm not sure again why the devs included that. In Battlestation Midway there's collision damage, but not in Pacific, and this has no bearing whatsoever. You still gotta leave it in though. Comment is the name of the entry. It's just for you to be able to reference it. You can change this to whatever you want. I'm not gonna change it, of course, because it's a vanilla unit. I want to know what all of my entries are, but basically just the reference name. Cost is how much the unit costs, how many command points the unit costs in island capture. Of course, this is an aircraft carrier, so you're never really gonna spawn these, but here you can also change the cost. This comes into more effect with ships that you can actually spawn in island capture. So damage, these are the hit points for all of the different sections of the ship, and these are the actual specific damage ones. So there are a few different ones, and some of them are only used by aircraft carriers. So for example, runway, that is one failure that is not present in the game, alongside steering. I don't know why the devs included that. Steering and runway, those are not failures that can happen in Battlestation Pacific. You can never get a steering failure. In Battlestation Midway, again, you can get both of these failures, but not in the Pacific. So these two really have no bearing whatsoever. You still gotta leave them in for the ship to work, but they don't have any bearing. And instead, the ones that do work are the engine room, the fuel tank, the magazine, and the body. These are all basically just saying what effects happen to them when they are dead. So these are of course all referencing effects.lua, so you can go ahead and check out what all of these different effects are there, and you can see the actual HP of all of them. So how much damage it takes, how much damage has to be dealt to the actual section for it to fail. So for the engine room, you'll get the white smoke out of the middle of the ship for most of the ship. The fuel tank, it'll be set on fire and you'll get a fire. In the magazine, you'll get the huge magazine explosion. And body is just body, doesn't really have any adverse effects. Anyways, a damage smoke is the type of smoke that happens when the ship is damaged. I don't know if you noticed, but when a ship is slightly damaged and it's sailing and nothing is hitting it, it'll just start smoking out of the blue. So again, that's in effects.lua. Damage threshold, I'm not sure what what this means. I'm assuming that it may have something to do with how much the ship can how much damage can the ship sustain at once, but I'm not sure. You can try messing with this on your own. Death effect, I'm not either sure what exactly this means as well. So again, we can go into effects.lua and go to 138 and see what that is. I'm just showing you how to get around these files easily. And damage effect for it's a fire. Well, there you go, big fire. So we just found out what that is. It's what kind of effects happen when the ship is actually dead. And that's that. Anyways, deck camera. Now these don't affect the game whatsoever. Again, these are, I'm assuming, stuff from Battlestations Midway. When you would go into the launch menu, you would actually go into like a view of the deck, seeing and then there you can access like your launch manager. In Battlestation Pacific, there's no such thing. You have the support manager or the Z menu, so you don't really have any deck camera. So this doesn't have any bearing whatsoever. Explosion types, not really sure what that means. I guess this is just the types of explosions that happens when a ship is damaged or when it takes too much damage. So that's what that is. And hack ship rotation and height add, it's I guess it was a way for the devs to actually test the ships in a certain way. So you could add like like for the rudder, you could make it go faster, you could make it go slower and stuff like that. So these also really don't really have a bearing too much. You can set both of them to 0 in a ship if you don't want them there, or it's up to you. Height is this, I'm not really sure what the game uses with this. It's supposed to represent how high a ship is. However, that doesn't really have anything to do with the physical model in the game itself. I guess it was just a way for the game to verify like how far down the water the ship can go, but I usually leave this as it is for my new ships and it usually works out fine. So yeah, that's what that is. HOD is hide on death. So basically what this means is when the ship dies, all of these things are going to be hidden. I'm not really sure what all the different numbers are, like 2 or 3, but if you open all these, you can see it's hiding a flags, it's hiding idle are idle soldiers, as you can see right here. I'll go more into them later on, but idle are basically idle sailors standing around on the ship. So that's what that is, hide on death. If you have a flag on the ship and you want it to not disappear when the ship dies, you just remove it from here. HP, this is an important one. HP is just how many hit points the ship has. Really simple. If you want to buff up the ship, you just simply increase that. If you want to reduce the strength of a ship, you just reduce that. Hull, I'm not really sure what this means. Segments, I'm assuming that as I showed you up here, the armor, the ship is divided into 9 parts. I guess this has something to do with that. As I don't know how to import damage models yet, I can't really provide much information on this. I'm not even sure what waterline ratio is. I think it has something to do with how deep the ship is in the water, but again, you can experiment that on your own. Idle. These are the idle sailors that are standing on the ship. As you can see, the Lexington has 30 of them. All of my ships usually have around 8. Really simple, and if you open each one of them, you can see what type of sailor it is, what kind of animations they do. So this one is idle, maybe this one is different. Yeah, this is a US officer that uses binoculars. So basically that's what that is. In the explosion effects is, I guess, when the ship is heavily damaged and the insides of the ship may explode, and this is the type of explosion that happens basically during the ship. Again, just like height, length, and basically it's supposed to tell the game how long the actual ship is. However, I'm not really sure if this has any bearing on the ship itself. I think it may affect how far the bow wave, the effect will go, so the foam around the ship, how far it'll go back. However, from my testing, I don't really think that's the actual case. So I guess you can set, if you want to be really nitty gritty when you're actually importing a ship, you can do this accurately. And these are all in meters, by the way. That's something I should have mentioned from the start. All the length values in Battlestation Pacific are in meters. Anyways, mass is how heavy the ship is, and that helps the game gauge like how much momentum the ship will have if you're going full speed, and if you reverse immediately. If it's a more massive ship, if it has more mass, then it'll take longer for it to adjust course, because it's a bigger ship. So a destroyer, a smaller ship, you would have this reduced, and a bigger ship you would have this increased. Max XL is a ratio of how fast the ship can accelerate. You would usually just reduce this for larger ships and increase it for smaller ships. Max rotation angle, I'm not really sure what that means, and the change ratio, I think it has something to do with how fast the ship can move left and right, how fast it can go, move with the rudder. So I'm assuming that if you want to increase that, you would just increase these numbers right here. Max speed is also a very important one. Is basically how fast a ship can go. This is in meters per second, so you would usually just go into Google Chrome or your desired browser, type in a meters per second to knot, or knot per meters per second, and then you would just convert and put the meters per second value in here. Anyways, mesh is pointing to the mod model of the ship. I will go in the next tutorial, advanced unit modding, about what mods are, but for now you're just gonna go ahead and use existing ones. Mod are model files for Battlestation Pacific, and basically all they are is just model files, so it's just pointing to the hull model file for the actual ship. Name is the actual name that pops up for the ship in game. This is a reference to a language file. You can change this whatever you want. You can just make this Lexington class right in here, and it'll show up as Lexington class in game. So like Island Capture, well, all of the ships don't have specific names, and this name is used instead. By the way, if you're wondering what this globals.unit class is, it is referencing a language file, as I said. However, through that, the game is able to change the name of the ship for every single language the game comes with. So the game comes with Italian, French, German, and Spanish. And this basically, it has the language files that this line references, has the name values in all the languages. You can change this to whatever you want, it'll still show up, but this is just a reference. Platform directors and platforms, these are arguably the two most important entries. I'm gonna start off with platforms actually, because then I can explain that. Platforms are the different weapons on the ship, and you will see they are also numbered. What these number references are are the actual slots on the model file. The weapon slots are located in the mmod file right here, saratoga.mmod. And I will go more into how these slots actually work in the model file later on during a second tutorial. But all you can do right now is basically just modify these and then just have them with different angles. So if you open one of these up, you'll see it has an entry called gun and then 42. This in fact references device classes. So gun 42 I think is a machine gun. Yeah, it's a buffer, 40 millimeters. So you can see that entry number 1 on the Lexington is a 40 millimeter buffer. Rest angles are what angle the gun is at when it's at rest, so when it's not pointing to anywhere, when you're not aiming it, and when the AI is not aiming it, it's at that angle. It always goes with the horizontal angle and the vertical angle, and these angle measures are in radians, they are not in degrees. So if you're measuring it, for example, on your screen with like a protractor in degrees, you're gonna have to go online and convert the degrees to radians and then input that value right here. Windows are basically the firing angles of the gun. So this is something that I have been dealing a lot, especially recently, because I imported a bunch of ships, and I had to modify these very precisely. You don't want these to be messed up, because I remember once I accidentally copied over a gun from a different ship, and the gun could fire through the ship all the way around. So you need to modify these carefully. So they have horizontal values and vertical values. These both have a maximum and a minimum. So basically what this means that this gun can fire from this value to this value horizontally, and they can fire from below the horizontal, because you can see 0 all the way up to 1.48, which is, I don't know how much is that. That is 80 degrees up, so pretty high horizontal. Again, I will go more into actual slots itself, but all you need to do right now is just change around and experiment with that and see what goes with what. Anyways, yeah, so platform directions, I'm not really exactly sure what this has an effect on, but this basically tells the game what which one of these platforms are facing which way. I'm not really sure if this has any bearing to the game whatsoever. I think it has something to do with which way the guns reset after you aim. However, again, that's something that you guys can explore on your own. Race is what nation the ship is in when it is being spawned, like picked in like a picked for the unlocks. So race 1 is for the Japanese, and 2 is for the Allied, 3 is neutral, I think. So race 2, if the Lexington right now, race 2 means that if the Lexington right now were on unlock, then it would only be available to the Allied side. If I change this to 1, then it will be available to the Japanese side. Recon class is what class the ship is classified as a recon. So on a tactical map, what icon it will represent on the map. So if you want to change this to a cruiser, then you can change this to the appropriate class. I think these are actually have their own file. Yes, the recon class is right here. I may as well just show you on most of these right here, so you can see. If you want to see what recon class this is, you can just go ahead and see recon class 2. Open up recon class 2, and you can see I never really looked into this, but I guess this is just for an aircraft carrier. Okay, yeah, so that's basically what that is. I guess you find out something new every day. I know this sounds funny, retardation, but I think this is how slow the ship will go if you accelerate it really fast. I think that's what it is. Again, you can experiment that on your own. Rotor particle is the type of effect that shows up underwater when you're looking at the ship's rotors. Again, this references effects.lua, so you can go and check that out. Runway length is basically detailing, real simple, this is only for aircraft carriers, and basically details how lengthy the runway is and how wide it is right here. So you can change that if you're importing an aircraft carrier and your runway is shorter. You can change this to your liking. This is of course in meters. This is the support manager icon, SM icon. These are in the interfaces folder. So if you go into interface and then units Lexington, interface, textures, GUI, and then units, and then you can find all of them right here in Lexington, somewhere over here, yeah, and you'll find them down there. And smoke is the type of smoke that appears from the chimney of the ship. Real simple, again, effects.lua. Sound effects is the type of sound effect that you can hear around the ship. So the ambient one, I'm not really sure what the ambient means. Dead effects, this is the type of sound that you will hear when the ship is sinking. The elevator, I never really hear the elevator effects. I guess this was something planned by the devs. The engine sounds, the propeller, these are the propellers. Hayos Savar is propeller effects. and the Orhulam are these are words in Hungarian, by the way, in case you didn't know. So yeah, this is propellers underwater. When you're sailing in a submarine past the ship, you will hear like the rotor spinning underwater. And Orhulam is for the when you go move to the front of the ship with the camera, you will hear the ship slashing through the water near the water splashes. That's what that is. Structural limit effects, I'm actually not really sure what that is. Again, we can go into vehicleclasses.lua real quick and discover what it is. 156. Right here, yeah, it's just a smoking explosion. That's basically what it is. So I guess when the ship dies or something like that, then that's displayed. Total height, I'm not really sure what that is. I guess it's the total height of the ship, adding in the underwater part and the part over the water. Traffic are the walking sailors around the ship, much like idle, where the standing sailors. Traffic is the walking sailors around the ship. They have a bit more stuff to actually put them on their path, because the paths for the sailors are very specific. But that's basically what it is. There are a bunch of types of the actual sailors. Type, this is very important. It's a type of ship. So mothership is the aircraft carrier type. I'll show you more later on down there. And then underwater armor is how much the ship has armor underwater, so how damaged it'll get by torpedoes. Wave stern is the type of foam that appears at the rear of the ship. When it's sailing, you'll see that type of foam at the rear of the ship. And width is just the overall width of the ship. Again, much like height or length, I don't really know what exactly this has to do. I think it has something to do with the foam itself, but that's basically what that is. Anyways, I will show you a few more lines from a few other ships from my Shard Horse, for example. There are a few extra lines, such as battle cruiser equals true. You can set that to ships like I know the Congo has that. If you're importing a new ship and it's a battle cruiser, you can have that over here. I'm not really sure what exactly that changes in game, but hey, you gotta make sure to have that. Flags is if you want to add your own flags. Now, just like weapons, flags have their own slots on the model as well. So you can see I have flag slots 1, 2, 3, and I changed them to the German flag. That's why the Shard Horse has German flags and not Japanese. Anyways, unlock equals true is if you want to make your ship an unlock. So if you want to make the Lexington up there an unlock, you would add this. Unlock equals true. And unlock ID, I have this for the Shard Horse basically because I want it to only be unlockable if you beat North Cape with a gold medal. So basically all you would do is, if you watch my previous mission modding tutorial, you would take the ID of the mission. So JM20 is North Cape and then underscore gold. And that basically tells the game if you beat the mission with the gold medal, and then you can get this ship unlocked as an unlock. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, and the different types of the ship. So I was told you I was gonna show you different parts of the ship. I have type battleship over here, and then for a cruiser down here, I have a type cruiser. And one other thing, if you wanna import a heavy cruiser, you need to have a special line. You need to put cruiser down here, and then you need to put another line, heavy cruiser equals true. That tells the game that it's a heavy cruiser, because if you were to remove this, the game will treat it as a light cruiser. Anyways, and another thing for vehicle classes that I quickly forgot to mention is the actual entries for aircraft. Aircraft are also in this file right here, and they have an array of their own properties. So let's start off one by one. I will quickly show you which ones are new here. Acceleration basically tells the plane how fast it can accelerate in game. And air brake drag is I'm not really sure exactly what this means, but I think that tells the game how hard the actual plane can brake if you decrease the throttle back, and then this basically tells the game how hard it'll decrease its speed. Armor indexes, same thing as before, different armor indexes. If different armor parts of the ship have different armor values. For the 0, they just happen to be all the same, and then the general armor of the ship. Bomb control limit is, I think, the interval in how many bombs you can drop per second. So I think this has 0.7, but the 0 only has I think 2. I think the most the 0 can carry is 2 bombs. So if you constantly click really fast, 0.7 seconds is nothing. Bomb delay is the same thing. I'm not really sure why these are separated values, but you can see the 0 can drop bombs really fast. Now bow waves, I'm not sure why they have these for aircraft, but of course if you go over to effects.lua really quick right here and scroll down to effect 185, I guess this is just a flying boat, yeah, obsolete plane while large. I guess this is just the thing that the devs left in for the classes. Not really sure if it has any effect on that. I leave it blank as always, but again, that's up to you guys. Carrier based tells the game if the plane can be launched from carriers. If you want to have the plane, of course, launched from a carrier, then you would add this line right here. Cockpit camera position is basically what position the camera is when you switch to cockpit view. These are, I'm assuming, X, Y, and Z values. I'm never really messed with those, so yeah. The comment is, again, just with ships, basically helps you define what unit this is. Cost of the unit is the cost of the unit Allen capture. Now the planes also have their own damage sections. If you open all these up, you will see they are as follow. We have the engine, the fuselage, the right wing, and the left wing, and they all have, I guess, their own separate values. So you can see that 60, 60, 60 for all of them. So if one of them dies, I guess the plane dies as well. So if the left wing gets to 0, then the wing will break off. And if you don't know, in Battlestation Pacific already, when a plane dies, and there's a chance of its wing being ripped off. Damage smoke effects, there are 2 of them, because when a plane is damaged, then it'll emit smoke from it, and then when it dies, that it'll also emit smoke, but it'll be a little bit different. Default equipment is what the plane usually spawned with, so 0 is just machine guns. There's no special equipment, since you know 0 is not a bomber. Dogfight, aim, distant. I'm not really sure what exactly both of these are. I think this is the when the cursor turns, when, I don't know if you ever noticed in Battleship Pacific, but when you're aiming at a plane, then the cursor will sometimes kind of turn. I don't really know how to explain this well, but the cursor kind of turns into itself when you're pointing at an enemy and you can fire at it. So I guess that's basically how far the plane can actually shoot. And at what distance the cursor will actually tell you that you can actually shoot at the target. So in this case, it's 400 meters. Drag pitch ratio, not really sure what this means. I guess this can be something with the way the plane is actually turning. Drop angle, again, not really sure what all these means. I've never really messed with aircraft, because if you guys don't know, we can't currently import aircraft into the game, only ships. Engine fire effects is the type of effects in effects.lua that happens when the engine gets caught on fire and when it dies. Equipments are the different equipments that the plane can equip. So in the first type of equipment, these of course reference slots on the plane. So the plane mmod file, just like with ships, you can see mmod right here. In the mmod there are slots, so slot 50 and slot 51 are, I guess, dedicated to bombs, and you can see ammo, just 1 ammunition of each type. And then platform is what kind of bomb it has, or no, sorry, this is the device classes entry for the platform, so you can find that in device classes. And the reload time is how many seconds it takes for the bombs to reload if you have reload payload enabled in a mission. Explosion effects is what kind of explosion happens when the ship explodes. External rotation acceleration is, I guess, how hard the ship, or not the ship, sorry, I'm getting confused, ships and planes, how hard the plane can actually go left and right. Glide rate is how fast the plane will go if it's just gliding in the air, if it's not really being pushed by an engine. Ground pitch is how fast the plane will go if it has unopposed friction on the ground. So if you landed the plane and it has gears down, and if it's landing on an airfield, this basically has something to do with the speed. Gun delay groups is, not really sure. I actually have no idea what this is. I'm assuming it's referring to the different slots themselves, because these are, I'm assuming, referring to the different slots of the weapons, so we can again experiment with this on our own. Height and HP, same thing as with chips. I am actually not sure what these camera mean and what these camera entries mean. I guess this is in Hungarian. Not really sure what that is, and I never really mess with that. Kamikaze bullet class is basically telling them what happens if the actual plane collides with a ship. So this is 99. I'm assuming this is in bullet classes right here, but I could be wrong. Length, again, same with a ship, and mass, same with a ship, except of course this is a plane. So the more mass it has, the harder it will find to actually maneuver around. Max speed, SPD, really self-explanatory, basically how fast the plane will go. Max water speed, if this was a float plane, this is telling it how fast it can go on water. And mesh is the mod file for the plane, so the model file for the plane. And minimum water speed is how the slowest speed that it can go on water, because when it's landing on water, I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but planes, when they're landing on water, float planes, they will actually, if you decrease their speed all the way down to 0, they will keep going forwards just a slight tiny bit. Movie camera positions, not really sure what all of these are. I guess these are stuff that the devs left in for, I guess they were supposed to have different camera positions for the actual planes depending on the situation of the ship. Again, I have no idea what all of these are. Some ships also have this. I guess they left it in. It doesn't really have any bearing whatsoever. Name is the name that shows up in the game. Just like with ships. Negative pitch ratio, not really sure what that means. I guess it has something to do when you're diving the plane down, how hard it'll pull up afterwards. Number of engines, basically real self-explanatory, tells the game how many engines the plane has. So in this case, with the 0, it's 1. The animated part, again, only gears. Basically just tells the game what animated parts are in the plane model itself. Again, I'm not really sure what these means, and I don't really import planes, so I guess that's something you guys can discover on your own. All of these pitch stuff, so pitch acceleration, pitch limit angle, and pitch speed, I actually don't know what pitch is. I guess it has something to do with the way that the planes rotate, and I know that pitch has something to do with the rotations of the propeller and something like that, but again, I could be wrong right here. Platforms are really self-explanatory, just like with ships. These are weapon slots for the planes. This is probably the most important part of the plane. Really self-explanatory. They have guns in deviceclasses.lua. The forward aim, and whether the pilot is the one that fires the gun, and if it uses a bomb bay door, it'll say true right here. So for bombs, you would say that. And windows, they're all the same because the gun can only fire forwards. So that's that. Race, of course, same thing as with ships. This will be 1 since it's Japanese. Recon class, the same. Recon modifier, not really sure what this is. I think this is how far the plane can spot. And all of this roll stuff, all this roll stuff right here has something to do with the way that the plane rolls, with the way that the plane changes left to right. Shells effects, not really sure what this is. I think this is explosion effects of the shells of the bullets, sorry, when they actually land on the ship. The short name for the plane is 0. Not really sure when this shows up in game, but apparently it does. Slide ratio, not really sure what this means either. This is support manager icon right here. You can find them in the same place as it is for ships. And of course the sound effects when this is the sound effects for the different parts of the plane, the fire effects, the engine sound effects, and the wind effects, and all that stuff. And the remainder of these of the actual the top part right here, they are all related to the stall speeds of the plane and the turbo. The turbo is when you hold the alt key and the plane goes into turbo, and a bunch of different values for the turns, the rolls, the yaw of the plane. Of course, type right here, really important. Fighter, there are a bunch of different types. Again, if we go Control F, there are fighters, torpedo bombers, and heavy bombers, dive bombers, and stuff like that. So let's quickly refine the 0. The 0 is entry 150. And unit live view distance. This is also goes the same for ships. And this is how far out the camera is zoomed out when you are viewing in the 3D view the model itself in the unit library. And the rest of these are also different values for the drag and speed of the plane. So how fast the ship can, how fast the plane can go up and down, and how fast it can turn. Anyways, that's pretty much it for vehicle classes. Now I showed you what planes are as well. Again, a very important experimentation on your own. You should be changing these values on your own and seeing what they are. I'm just showing you where all of these are. Anyways, without further ado, let's get straight into device classes. Anyways, just to quickly show you what device classes has, much like vehicle classes, they have their own entries as I showed you before. And just because I have the entry of the 40mm boffer open, I'll just go ahead and show you that. So add speed, not really sure what that is. I think that that tells the game to actually add speed to the bullet. Maybe that is something that you would have with like rockets or Tiny Tims or something like that. But aim feedback is telling the game that if you shoot the actual weapon, you will get feedback on your mouse cursor. So when you hit something, it'll turn a little red, and if it's ineffective, it'll turn white, and it'll say ineffective. Armor indexes basically tells you how well armored the gun is. So you can see, since it's a boffer, it's not very well armored, only 3. You would increase this if you want to have it well armored. And again, the overall armor for the gun itself. So you would add the armor indexes on top of the armor to get the armor for that specific area. So bullet, I will also show you another file right here. Bullet, they have their own classes over here. You can see that the boffer has only one type of bullet, and if you go over to the actual script files, the bullets also have their own classes located in vehicleclasses.lua, and you also can fold it up right here, and you can find all the different bullets right here. As you can see, now we have a bunch of data table files open. It's sometimes hard to keep track, but you just make sure you keep it organized, and you'll achieve greatness. Anyways, bullet, you can see right here, that is the class. So bullet 42. If you go over to entry number 42, you can see it is the 40mm Bofors a bullet, and there's all types of bullets in here: missiles, rockets, shells, anything you can think of, bombs even, I think. Anyways, then you can see a bunch of different effects right here. So what type of effects? Again, in effects.lua, it has when it fires, the reload time of the gun, the throw, not really sure what throw is. I think it's how fast the bullet will actually go, and tracer ratio, how thick the tracers of the bullets actually are. If you want to make the tracers invisible, you just put 0 down here, or a very small value. Anyways, that's what that is. Damage is just damage for the different sections. Again, we only have body here. All guns usually only have body, and it's a very small HP. Anyways, explosion effects is what effects happen to the gun when it's blown up. Function, this is probably the most important part of the gun itself, AA machine gun. So that is an AA machine gun. If you want to have a dual purpose gun, then you can of course go into Control F, and light artillery flak is the dual purpose one. And if you just want to have a light artillery, there we go, light artillery. And then there's a bunch of different types. There's heavy guns, fortress guns, rocket guns, all different types. Again, this is all about experimentation. So if you want to search for something, just type it into the find menu right here. The rotation speed of the gun is basically how fast the gun can rotate. So since this is a small gun, it has a fast rotation of 4. HP is the overall HP of the actual gun, so how hard it is to kill. The mesh is the model file right here, the mmod model file. The name doesn't really have any effect. The guns don't really have names in Battlestations Pacific, and Battlestations Midway they did have, but not really in Battlestations Pacific, so you can change this to whatever you want. Shadow cast enable, this is what enables the gun to actually cast a shadow. Never really mess with this. I think it would be cool if we enabled it all, but never really mess with it again. And the slow rotation limit, not really sure what that is. I think it determines how slow the gun can actually rotate, but again, not really sure. And the type, this is also a very important one. It's not really sure what exactly determines different types, but this is the rapid turning gun apparently. And the vertical rotation speed is how fast the gun can aim up and down, basically. So there's a bunch of different types. If you just go over Control F type, you'll see these are all mostly rapid turning guns. There's a single turning guns, there's bomb platforms that you can see right here, rapid fixed guns, again more single turning guns. There's a bunch of different types. All of the device classes for planes and ships are all located in here. Anything you can think of, basically. And let me quickly show you a few things in the actual. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see a bunch of green text. These are the actual weapon values for the new complete campaign pack ships. So let's just open one of them for the Colorado main turret. For example, there's a bunch of stuff that I need to show you here as well. Barrel recoil basically tells the game how much far back the barrel of the gun should go back when it is actually fired. So since this is a heavy gun, you would have this. If you don't want to have it, you would just remove this completely like that. But I want these because I think barrel recoils look pretty cool. So basically this is just a bunch of characteristics for the actual rolling back of the gun. And then I have explosion type and explosion effects that basically tell explosion type is what type of explosion happens when the gun actually hits the ship, and pretty much everything else the same as previously. It has damage, bullets, special bullets, and stuff like that. Now bullets, as I said, they also have their own classes. I guess I'm just gonna show you this as well really quickly. Damage is how much the damage can actually the gun do to a ship or a plane, and how much it can do to armor, to the ground units, to light armor stuff, and what kind of effects it has when it hits the water. Does it actually hit the water? How fast I'm not really sure what fly time means. I guess that this is for actual ships, but I guess if you increase this it'll fly farther. Mass is usually very little for bullets, not really sure what that all means. Troll effects is again what effect happens to it when it's traveling, so this is for tracers and stuff like that. And VO, I'm not actually sure what VO means. I think this is the initial velocity of the bullet, aka how fast it's traveling at the start. Anyways, that is pretty much it for device classes. Now let's actually really quickly, before I wrap up, show you actually some of these modifications in action. Okay, so we are basically at the end of the tutorial. Again, as I said, this will be a very short tutorial, not really much to talk about here, so we're gonna go ahead and have some fun right here. We're gonna modify a ship to our liking just to show you guys that this does actually work. Again, I am using a 4.0 installation right here, so I'm gonna have a section dedicated to only modding. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and modify the Fletcher. So the Fletcher is class 23. In fact, I don't know why I looked it up. Anyways, that is you can see the entry for the Fletcher. So what we are going to do, we're going to mess with it a little bit. We are going to increase its maximum acceleration to 10, so it's gonna accelerate really fast. We're gonna make its mass really small, so maybe, I don't know, 50. We're gonna increase its max speed to 100. That is gonna be fun. Its HP we're gonna leave unchanged. Cost, we're gonna reduce that down to 10 so we can spam them all the time. And I think that's about it. I don't think I want to change anything else. Oh yeah, we're gonna change its platforms a little bit. So we're gonna change its 5 primary guns. You can see main platform equals true if you can recognize if it has a main platform. So we're gonna change them to do Yamato's guns. Oh no, not here. I need to go into here. Yamato 18 inches. They're entry number 23. So here we go into device classes. Remember what the entry is, and you would change all of these gun entries right here. So these are 15. These are Fletcher turrets, and 23, right? Yeah, it was 23. Excellent. So we're gonna change this to 23, and then we're gonna take our new Fletcher, Super Fletcher, for a spin. Oh yeah, and I'm also gonna change the name to it. From Fletcher to Super Fletcher. In a later tutorial, I'm actually gonna show you how to actually create new classes per se. This is just basic modification of existing classes, just like how I did with missions. So let's, without further ado, see what monster we have created. Okay, so let's go straight into the actual game and see what type of ultimate monster we have created here. So from our modifications, our Fletcher should go really fast. We should have Yamato's guns for it, and we should have it accelerate also really fast. Not really sure. 100 meters per second. That is gonna be really fast. Okay, so we are in. Wait for it to actually load. And let's see, there we go. You can see the name has changed to Super Fletcher, and our cost is only 10, so we can spam these over here. Super Fletcher, oh my god. And you can see it is accelerating quite fast. We are getting faster and faster. And you can see right here that we in fact do have Yamato's guns, and we are flying all over the place right now. Oh my god. The timer is going, the counter of the speed is actually gone to 0. Yeah, I think this is the fastest we'll go. And this just gives you basically an idea on of what type of stuff you can actually do with that. Yeah, so this is something that I guess you could do with also PT boats and smaller ships. So yeah, you can see that making a ship go faster, it actually just makes it kind of fly into the air a little bit because of how physics work in Battlestation Pacific. But anyways, that is pretty much going to be it for the actual tutorial itself. And next up, we shall actually cover how to actually find all of these class values in a vanilla game. Okay, so to really quickly just show you how to actually modify the vanilla game with units. So as with the previous tutorials, all I'm going to show you right here is actually where all of these class files are located. So I have my vanilla version of the game pulled up over here right now. You will go into Mpack and classes. Right here, just like with scenes, it was for missions. Classes are where all of the classes, different classes are located in, all of the ships are in all of the planes. Something that you will notice right off the bat is that there are class enemy, class without a name, and then class enemy and class own. So what that means is all the classes without the suffix are the ships. All of the classes with dash enemy and dash own, these are planes. And you will see they have the same. You have class own 5 and then class enemy 5. Basically what the devs did here is they split up the plane entries, the plane classes into 2 Mpacks. I have no idea why, but they did, for an enemy and for an own. But that doesn't really make a difference. If you're going to make a change to one of them and you're modifying the vanilla game, you're also going to make a change to the second one. So let's say you want to modify the Fletcher. Again, all you would do is open class 23, because we know according to vehicleclasses.lua, which is, by the way, I should also show you where vehicle classes is located. Vehicle classes is located in 2 places for Battlestation Pacific. One of them is located in ggame.init. So if you open this up in the Ripper right here and you scroll down, you can see you have scripts, data tables, and then auto load vehicle classes. And then you have another one in GB main menu, I think. Yeah, there's some data table files right here. Yeah, there we go. Vehicle classes and device classes. I'm not sure why they have them separated up like that, but basically all you would do is you would extract both. You would go to select all and then extract selected files and then open folder to edit them and then pack them up again right here. So I don't know why the devs have 2, but my recommendation is edit them both, make the same modifications to both, or make all the modifications to one and then simply copy it over to the second one and just simply edit them like that. Anyways, class 23 is the Fletcher. You can see that all of the files for the actual classes are in here. And we go to select all and then extract selected files, and the Ripple will really quickly go ahead and extract that for you. Once it is done right here, we'll go to open folder, as we usually do with the Ripper. The folder will appear, and you can see that all of the files are actually here. You would modify whatever you want right here, and then you would pack it up right here. And I will go more into what the actual files are and the detail of what they are in a later tutorial, but same thing for the vehicle classes. You would just open the 2 Mpacks, pack them up, replace them in game, and just simply go ahead from that. So that's basically how you modify vehicle classes and device classes in the vanilla game.